years after Herzl wrote this, would you still agree with that? In the long term, for the Jewish people, is either assimilation or Israel?
Well, first of all, let me correct you a little bit. There are non-Jewish people who are becoming Jewish as well. It's not just that the Jewish are assimilating, there are people who are becoming Jewish too. But, first of all, when I look at your community, I'm very proud about the Jewish community in Mexico. You're a wonderful community. And if I would have to decide or to define who is today a Jew, my answer would be a Jew is a person that tries to keep his children to remain Jewish. Now, I'm asking myself, why are people assimilating? Because they think there are better places than Israel. I think the task of Israel is to make itself such an attractive country that nobody will assimilate. I mean, Israel was born out of difficulties and tragedies. But our ambition is not to create more tragedies and more problems, but really to become an attractive country that everybody will come. I mean, if a Jew lives outside of Israel, it's Jewish. I have no complaint. But the Jewish people who live in Israel have to build Israel to really become a great attraction. We have achieved in some domains really an attractive country, particularly in the domain of science and technology, for example.
Yes.
And also we started from nowhere. 65 years ago, when you're asking, we have had nothing. Israel is a small piece of land, and the land is not friendly.
No.
No, we have swamps in the north, deserts in the south. We didn't have water. We have 2 lakes, one dead, the other is dying. We have 1 river, the Jordan River.
Yeah.
The river has more history than water. It's not a river for irrigation. We didn't have any natural resources.
No oil.
No, thanks. In the Middle East they say there are 2 sorts of countries. Holy countries and oily countries. We were a holy country, not a oily country. Many Jewish people complained, why didn't Moses took us to Saudi Arabia? I say, thank you, Moses, that he didn't take us to Saudi Arabia. We would become a crazy, lazy people. Now, we make more money without oil than Saudi Arabia, per person.
Yes.
So, you know what? Better to make money because we are holy than to make money because we have oil, because we are oily. And then, we were all told 650,000 Jewish people in Israel. We were attacked by 40 million Arabs. We didn't have yet an army. We were attacked by 7 armies. We didn't have guns. We didn't have people. Everything was hostile and empty. And people thought, well, what are we going to do here? Nothing. Really nothing.
Yes.
And then we discovered the greatest treasure we have. And these are the human being, the people. Israel is a story of people, not of land. It's a story of people that have enriched the land more than the land has enriched the people. And from a desert and from swamps and from hostility, we built today a country which is really respected all over the world.
Yes.
And if we shall have peace, I believe that Israel will be the most attractive country in the world, and all the Jews out of their own choice will come. By then, by the way, we shall have new airplanes, and the time to fly will be half or something like it. So you can do business here and live in Israel, for example. Things are changing,
yes,
and not necessarily for the worse, but for the better as well.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Now, let me ask you, in your long career, you have met several leaders from the left, from the right in Israel, and outside Israel. You yourself were the Prime Minister, and now you are the President. From your own experience, and from all the leaders that you have met, Mr. President, what is the most important feature to lead a country?
The most important feature to lead a country is not to lead it, but to serve it. Not to be a ruler of your people, but to be a servant of them. None of us was born to lead or to rule. But each of us can really be a great man if he will serve something which is greater than himself. And I would recommend to a young man that wants to be a leader, go and serve. Don't try to rule. Nowadays, people don't need really leaders. They're equipped with smartphones, with knowledge. And the leaders cannot answer all the problems anyway. Economy is global, not national, so it affects every country, not being affected by terror. It's also spread all over the world. Can the leader answer it? No. People can answer it. So try to pave a way for everybody to be able to serve more, to serve better, to be a better human being. I know it sounds a little bit like messianic. I don't think so. I was, as you said, Prime Minister and President, but I was for 60 years in the administration of my land.
Yes.
And then I asked myself on what did I spend most of my time? And the answer is to handle frictions. People were all the time warning,
Yes.
Maybe
Jewish people
said.
especially.
Yes. Then I became president, so I don't have a government, I don't have an administration, but I don't need it either. Because the very same people who at the beginning would oppose every order, today if you ask them to volunteer, they do it for nothing. In a way, a president that appeals to the people, not as a leader, but as their servant, they have the people with him. Because they think you didn't come that the people will serve you. You came to serve the people. Now about the Jewish people, as you have said,
It's difficult.
We are quarreling. And many non-Jewish people ask me, what is the greatest contribution of the Jewish people to the rest of the world? My answer is dissatisfaction. A good Jew cannot be satisfied. The minute he's becoming satisfied, he stops being Jewish. Because we are dissatisfied, we want to change the world, we want to improve it. We want to do better. And it's a source of really commitment and hope. And I believe basically the world is becoming better. So let's continue and do it.
Well, thank you. Mr. President, during your long career, you have a very intensive relationship with Yitzhak Rabin. Let me ask you, what did you think the day that he was killed in Tel Aviv, in Israel, this assassination by a Jew? What do you think at that time, and what do you think nowadays about that assassination?
Well, I felt like somebody would cut my body in half, and half of it of a son was killed and assassinated. One person is less than one. Two persons are more than two. When you work together, you are better, you are stronger. And we serve together for many good use. We have our different views, which is natural. But I don't think we have had a private fight. There were differences how to handle this and how to handle that, but we always achieved an agreement, I believe, for the good of the country. Now, this evening was a terrible evening. You know, we decided about this government, gathering of the people, and Yitzhak was skeptical if people will come at all, because there was already a great criticism about our peace agreement.
That's right.
And then when we came to the square of Tel Aviv, there was an unbelievable large crowd, many young people. And they started to sing and call Rabin, Rabin. Some of them with their dress, there was a small pond near the municipality, jumped with their dress there. I knew Rabin for a long time. I never saw him a more happier person than that night. I never saw him singing that night his song. The both of us were not great singers, but occasionally he called us to sing. He wasn't a man that embraces. That evening he embraced me every 5 minutes. I never saw him so happy. You know, we're supposed to go up together to the stage and go down together. But then our intelligence told us that there may be an attempt on our lives, not by Jews, by Arabs. So we decided that each of us will go down in a separate way. The last moment I asked Yitzhak, did you say hello to the people that organized it? Oh, he says, my God, I forgot. So I went back to thank them. And he says, I know you're going to Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, don't wait for me. I went down, maybe 50 steps or something like it, and then I heard 3 shots. The driver of Yitzhak was very near me. I says, what happened? He says, I don't know. And before I had a chance, security people took me out and drove me away. And asked what happened. They didn't know, they wouldn't let me say a word or hear a word. And only when I arrived nearby their headquarters, they told me that Yitzhak was shut down. We didn't know yet if he was alive or not. So he says, go straight to the hospital. They say, no, we won't. He says, if you will not take me, I'm going by leg. So I took there, I came in. Still we didn't know what's happening. Then the head of the hospital came to me and he says, Shimon, he's dead. His wife, Leah, was nearby. So the two of us entered the room. Yitzhak the body was covered, but the face was smiling. As though for the first time in his life, he tastes what does it mean not to be engaged, to be free. Leah kissed him, I kissed him, and we were both broken people. When we went out from the room, the square was already covered with young people, candles in their hands, and the whole nation, like one, started to cry. I shall never forget that day. And clearly, after his assassination, the Jewish world, but not only the Jewish world, from all other places, people came to bless his memory, to appreciate his life, to thank him for his contribution. Arabs and non-Arabs, practically all heads of states came in. Yes. Most of the presidents of the United States, really everybody. And you know, when he was killed only then, we understood fully the meaning of such an outstanding person like him. Honest, straightforward, trying to serve his nation in war when there was war, and otherwise in peace, because he thought, like I do, that peace is our number one desire.
Yeah.